All right. Hey everyone. Um Here we are again, back at it doing this thing we do every week. Um it's a little late this week. No, it was a little late last week too. I actually noticed this morning that every week since I've started, it's been a day later that it got recorded and published, but it's fine. Um but yeah, I meant to record yesterday. Yesterday was kind of kind of an insane day, so I didn't get a chance to. I wasn't really at the house much. Um, but anyway, so we'll kick things off like we always do with X-Men '97. This one was Life Death Part 2. We got we picked back up with Storm. Got to see what she's up to. Um, how she's doing with Forge and everything. Um, she seemed to forgive him pretty quickly. You know, I'm not sure how much time has passed between the last episode and this one. I would guess not that much, considering how quickly the adversary's poison was working on Forge. But I mean, yeah, who knows? Um, but this episode kind of bounced back and forth between two stories. I'll focus on the one and then I'll talk about the other. um, um, but yeah, it was it was another banger episode. I mean, I'm just may as well get to it. It was another banger because they all are at this point. Oh goodness, we got Storm overcoming her her own demons, and literally in this case, um, but also figuratively in regards to her claustrophobia. I like that they put her. She was in. That was the position she was put in when she was able to reach out and gain her powers back. And the reason that she was doing it to find that um, cactus that that Forge told her about for the aloe and everything. Um, and the fact that when she did get her powers back and she, blew the adversary away, literally, and then blasted out of that hole, and she was in her classic, giant size storm outfit, the '80s one, uh, or '70s, I guess. I'm not actually. It was '70s and '80s, I guess. I'm actually not sure when she stopped wearing that, um, but she's in that classic costume, which I personally prefer the white one. I just think it looks cooler. That's the one I knew her. I knew her to wear as a kid, just because of the X-Men animated series. But um, I'm not at all mad at it. Because it was I really appreciated what it meant in context of the scene. It was a really good scene. And she had uh it was just it was a classic overcoming of a of a struggle kind of story that I really appreciated. Um and we got more Forge, which I'm always happy to see. I love me some Forge. Um and then I don't really have much else to say on that, other than that the animation for it uh stellar, as it has been for every episode of this series thus far. Especially in terms of Storm. Storm, they've really been just giving Storm their all. It seems she's really been highlighted in this series, and I'm here for it. I love Storm. Um, but uh, but yeah, and then the other half of the episode was Charles. He was, because obviously in the original series, I say obviously, but if you haven't seen it, because I had to explain it to my wife when we were watching it yesterday. Uh, but in the original series, when Charles is poisoned, he uh, he ends up going with Lilandra to the Shi'ar Empire so that she can, you know, work on curing him with the Shi'ar's uh, advanced medical technology. Um, so we got a bit of that, and we got to see where he is, and he's talking about becoming the emperor of the Shi'ar Empire. And he has to have this whole thing with Deathbird, which, funny enough, I I know that she was in the original series, or at least I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember her from that series. I remember her as a boss in Ultimate Alliance, um, but specifically the Game Boy Advance version of Ultimate Alliance, because there's a mission where you're on a Shi'ar ship and she's the boss, like the boss battle of the level. Um, I just found that funny that that was what I knew her from. But anyway, uh, so like they want to erase his memories and his convictions and dedication to Earth and humanity and the X Men, and he refuses, and Deathbird's all like, "Oh, he's a monkey man." It's almost literally she was dogging him for being for descending from sapiens, as she put it. Um, and not just him, but the rest of humanity. But and then he does his thing. But one of the coolest scenes in this episode was when he took them all to school, literally. Um, got in their heads and got them, uh, got them all sitting in their desks to to learn a thing or two, which I really appreciated. I thought that was very funny. And then, of course, the dialogue is just. I actually saw somebody say um, that it's our uh, weekly screenwriting or script writing seminar. Uh, which, yeah, I mean, I would say so because the dialogue in this show it's got some of the best dialogue in any show I've ever watched. Especially for the context of it. Because everything out of especially Magneto's mouth is just gold. It's pure solid gold. And now they've got Charles coming back, voiced by Ross Marquand, who is good in everything he does. Um, yeah, I mean it's good, and I'm really more of Charles, um, because is um trying to think of a way to say that without sounding really old. Really good lines. We'll put it that way. But but yeah, he decides to leave the Shi'ar Empire and Lalandra, come back to Earth, um, because while he's in this mental astral plane classroom with everybody, showing them, giving them the business, he he gets a flash of our boy Gambit, who becomes a giant skeleton, and then uh, blasts. Hey, shut up! Sorry, I accidentally clicked on something. Um, and then vaporizes everybody, and now he knows about what happened in Genosha last episode. And then at the very end of the episode, we see Forge and Storm hanging out, and Forge turns on the TV, and they see on the news what happened in Genosha. So now, um, I think we got next week's episode, and then after that, I think I'm pretty sure it's a 3-part finale. Which, if their standard episode, their filler episode, the Motendo one was kick ass, and now that they've got a 3-part finale, I'm I'm not sure I'm gonna survive that, if I'm being totally honest with you. Um, but I'm excited to try. So, but yeah, X-Men '97 is still still kicking ass. 6 weeks in, or I guess 5 weeks because it was 2 episodes the first week, but 6 episodes in, it's still kicking ass, and I see no signs of stopping. Thus far. So, yeah. So, um, Bad Batch is the other thing. Uh, it was a good episode. Admittedly, I was kind of distracted watching it. I definitely need to watch it again. Um, but we're nearing the finale of that. I think we only got what 2 more episodes left, and they're attached to an Imperial ship headed to Tantus. So we know that we're gonna see them reunite with Omega soon, and I imagine that's gonna be the finale. And maybe we'll find out who this Clone X guy is. I know lots of people have their theories. Um, my wife being one of them, but I don't know. We'll see. The prevailing theory around my house and the people who I know who watch it is that it's Tech, that he survived and they took him and brainwashed him, which will be nice because Tech's not dead. Also, heartbreaking because Tech's not dead and he's been brainwashed this whole time. Because we don't really know how long it's been since the end of season 2. We know it was long enough for Omega's hair to grow out. Um, and we know Hunter considers it to be a long time. In episode 1, that's what he says. She's been waiting us for a long time. So, I don't know, but how many episodes are in that? Hold on, I'm gonna look that up real quick. Um, 3. Okay, this says 15. Um, yeah. So 15 episodes. This was the 12th. So we got 3 more episodes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so 3 more episodes. So maybe that won't be the finale unless they get sidetracked, which happens a lot with these guys. Um, we'll see, I guess. But I mean, this is right now the four of what I would consider to be some of the best, most well made, um, well animated, well acted, well written shows, animated series on TV ever are going on right now. And that's X-Men 97, obviously. The Bad Batch, Invincible, which I know is technically on hiatus, but still. And technically so is the fifth one I'd put on that list, which would be My Adventures with Superman. Um and then fucking Bluey. Which I guess is over now, unfortunately, which makes me sad. But we just watched that most recent episode, the big one, which I think is supposed to be the finale for now, I guess. It had my wife and I both bawling like babies. Um, but yeah, it's crazy how much animation has boomed in the last few years. I mean, animation has always been a big thing, obviously, but not not the way it has been, and I am so happy for it because I am a huge fan of animated properties, and I personally attribute a lot of that recent success of animated properties to Into the Spider Verse because I feel like, and Pixar has also had a big hand in that, but I feel like Into the Spider Verse really it pushed the envelope in a big enough way that made people really realize what they could do with animation. Um, because I mean, you think about it, we got that, and then what? 2 years later, we get Invincible, which brings superhero animation back to the forefront, and then we get um, it just snowballs from there. I feel like um, I just I'm really happy to see uh where animation as a medium is right now because like Invincible is that show made Invincible, an indie image comic, which is big, fairly big among average comic readers. But even me, like I knew what Invincible was because I'd read a few volumes in the school library, which they should not have been in. But I hadn't, I hadn't read a lot. I didn't know the whole story, and I wasn't that into it. I liked what I read, but it was like I think 2 or 3 volumes, and that was it. But then that show not only got me invested enough to go buy the compendiums and read the entire series, but I know lots of people who did the same thing. Um, and now Invincible is a household name, which is insane to me. But um, but yeah, I just the state of animation right now is it's a really good one, and I'm very happy to see that it's thriving as well as it is. It's a it's something I've always touted. I've always been big on animation. I've always thought that most, for instance, superhero properties were best adapted in animation. Um, I think the best Batman movies, especially, are animated ones. So, but yeah, so seeing where it is now, animation hasn't been this big a deal since the '90s. I would argue, maybe early 2000s, but even then. Ironically enough, when X-Men was big. Ugh, sorry, my coffee was coming back up. Um, but yeah, so that was X-Men and Bad Batch. I actually don't have as much to talk about this week. I don't think we got as much news this week as we did last week. So I don't really have any news. I did want to talk about more about the new Ultimate Universe because I caught up on X-Men. Spider-Man issue 4 drops, I think, if not later this week, then next week. Um, but and Ultimates hasn't dropped yet, but the new issue of Black Panther did, and I'm still really enjoying that. The art in that book is phenomenal, and I have yet to actually say the artist's name because I neglected to look it up the last few times I talked about it, which that's my fault. Um, the artist on Ultimate Black Panther is stop getting these freaking ads. Okay, Stefano Caselli is what it looks like. That's how that looks. It's pronounced. Oh, damn. Ugh. Sorry, guys. I'm having a bad time with acid reflux at the moment. Um, yeah, Stefano Caselli. Dude's killing it. The art in this book is fantastic. And the colorist, let's see the colorist. Color artist? I don't know if that's a new term for colorist. David Curiel is what it looks like. Um, yeah, David Curiel uh, is the guy who does the colors. That was something that I really picked up on in this issue, especially with the lighting. Because there's a scene where T'Challa and Killmonger, which we ran into Killmonger and Aurora in the last issue. But there's a scene where T'Challa and Killmonger are sitting around a fire, and I'm looking at it now. I just like it's nothing special. It's just firelight on a face, but the way that the colorist does it, accentuates the line work so well. And there's a lot of that just throughout this book, and the suit is really growing on me. I still don't love it. It's still a little too, I don't know, bulky, I guess. Like the tooth necklace and the belt and everything. Like your classic Black Panther motifs are all there, but they're just big. And I don't love that, but um this guy drawing it makes it look good. And I also much prefer Black Panther with like the covered, the full face mask. I just think that looks cooler. Generally, I'll go for that in most um full body superhero designs like uh, Batman, especially Batman Beyond. I prefer to just have the mouth covered. Um, but the way that it's drawn here, I do like it. Oh, and Aurora's design I really dig too. Because she's got the, I don't know. It looks like dreadlocks. I'm gonna assume that's what it's called. I'm not brushed up on hairstyles. I don't pay attention to that stuff, but I know it looks cool. It looks really cool. And she's got the classic lightning bolt earrings, but she is definitely a very different character from the one we see in Ultimate X-Men. And I'm still not sure if that's supposed to be Storm, but it really looks like Storm. So I mean, it could be another mutant that I'm just not aware of. There are a lot of those because there are a lot of mutants. Um, but I mean, I don't know if it is a version of Storm. And this is the same universe because I did finally get around to reading Ultimate Universe #1, the kind of kickoff for all of these books after Ultimate Invasion, which I also haven't read. I need to. I'm slacking. Um, but like all of those are referenced in that book, so I know it's all in the same continuity for sure. I kind of had my doubts before, but definitely is. So I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but I'm excited to keep reading all of them, especially Spider Man. Um, but yeah, and then there's this. The last page of this made me think of that the first Assassin's Creed at the end, where Al Mualim drops the apple, and then the map, projects, and Altair's standing there staring at it, and there's a the final page of this. No spoilers. Well, it is spoilers. Full warning for spoilers. Um, it's just a map of Earth, like projected in front of T'Challa, Aurora, and Killmonger, and I don't know what that is, but that's what it made me think of. But yeah, so next issue next month. Um, I think the only Ultimates is supposed to come out this month too. So we still have Ultimates and Spider Man left to come out this month, and then next month we'll have all four. So we'll have Spider Man number 5 next month, Black Panther number 4, X Men number 3, and Ultimates number 1. And I really like the way that they're staggering the books. I appreciate that because it's a lot easier to keep up with. Um, I wish they were a little less scattered throughout the month, their release schedules. But just because sometimes when I record these, half of them have come out, the other half haven't. Uh, but that's not totally a problem, I guess. Um, Either way, but I do appreciate that they're. It's easy to keep up with just as far as like what issues I've read and what I haven't, because I have that problem sometimes where like I'll get on there, I'll pull up my app or whatever, and I'll be on I'll be on the next issue, and I'll be looking at that and just skip ahead, and I'll start reading, like, say, the issue I previously read was 36. I pull it up, it's automatically on 37. My brain tells me, oh, I already read this. I jump ahead to 38 and have no idea what the hell's going on. So then I have to go back and and uh and double check. Um, but this way it kind of helps me. I can just think of what month it is and look at the number, the issue number, and we're good. So hold on, let me get some more fuel. Um, okay, so that was TV and comics. So the next thing I was going to talk about, this was something I wanted to talk about last week, but I rambled about X Men for too long. Is I have been playing the absolute hell out of um, Helldivers 2. No pun intended on the absolute hell thing. Um, I have not played something like that with that kind of a reach among its community, kind of ever, really. Um, and I'm not used to playing online shooters. I'm not an online guy. I'm really not a shooter guy, especially an online one. Um, but this game is just, I mean, it's something else, dude. I mean, it's addicting. Like, I haven't played in a couple of days, and this is the first time I haven't played in a couple, this is the first time I haven't played at least once a day, pretty much since I started playing it. Um, because Ermac came out, which I'll talk about him a little later. Um, but I'm honestly baffled at how successful Helldivers has been, and not just how popular, but just the how successfully made it was. Like, it is, it's crazy. It's exactly what these kinds of games should be, and it's so few of them are. Like, prime example, or I guess the most relevant example, right now would be Suicide Squad, which, I like that game, but I can and will happily admit that it has its shortcomings. Um, chief among them being its model, uh, or less the model and more the execution of the model. Like, it's not what it should be in terms of being a live service game like that. Like, I was defending it heavily, and I still do on a gameplay and story basis, but in terms of how they're handling, like I said, the model that they chose to go with, there's no defending that. Like, the fact that I have to grind out 40 levels just to be able to play the new character, which, sure, there are other games that do that, but I don't like it in those games either. And the fact that you had so many people shitting down this game's throat already, and then you pull something like that when the new character comes out, people aren't happy about it, and they have every right to be not happy about it. Which is unfortunate because the more decisions like that they make, the less people play this game, and the more likely. I mean, I'm already hearing rumors. Of course, it's rumors, so pinch of salt and all that. But um, I've already heard rumors that WB is planning on axing it, which of course they are. It's WB. That's what they do. But that's a shame because I was really excited to see what they did with this game. Um, I was personally, uh, I was drawn in by the prospect of the multiverse and the 13 Brainiacs and spreading the story across these seasons over a longer period of time. Uh, except now, you know, now that I know that this is the model for that, I'm significantly less excited by it because now I'm thinking, if this is how they're doing this, then um, that where's the sustainability, basically? Which, if you ask me, there isn't any, especially when you have a game like Helldivers that's just kicking ass and taking names right now, in every conceivable way. Um, my little brother, um, he he wants to play this game so freaking bad, dude. Um, and he's the only one of me and my other brother who hasn't gotten his hands on it yet because he's got Xbox. Whereas my brother and I have PC and PlayStation respectively, and he gets so pissed off every time we start talking about that game. Um, but um, like, but if this is the state of or rather if this can continue to be the state of this game, and we can if the industry can look at look at Helldivers and just you know take hopefully learn the right lessons from it. um I mean, we got there's a whole new niche on our hands, because I saw somebody say that every console generation there's a game that comes out that just changes it for everybody. um like I guess it's PUBG that started the whole battle royale thing. And then everything was a battle royale. Everything. Everybody wanted. That's what everybody wanted to do. That's what everybody wanted to play. So that's what everybody made. Which snowballed into the live service. Um, which is where you got stuff like Destiny, and I guess Anthem was one. And now you got what's the other one that starts with an Apex, and then it just it's game after game after game after game. Where the first few made a lot of money, and then talking about learning the wrong lessons, people just kept making those games, even though lots of those games had no business being that. Like Avengers, which again could have worked had they executed it well, but they didn't. Um, and it's the same thing with the Suicide Squad game. And then out of nowhere you get what is it, Arrowhead, who is uh they're so invested that um they're like the devs on their social media act as if they are Super Earth, and it's hilarious. And they keep that fire burning by uh they add new content. They um keep up with the content they have, and they have made a game that is so immersive that uh the guys who were playing who were fighting on the level on Creek, which was before my time. But I've talked to a few of these guys online, and the way they talk about the Creek, as they call it, you'd think that they were in freaking Vietnam. Like that's the level of uh, immersion that that they have built. That's the kind of um, community that they've built just with this $40 game that looks and plays better than most AAA. It's insane. It's insane. It makes no sense that it's this good, but it is. Okay. Um, where was I? Helldivers. That's right. Um, yeah. Actually, I don't think I really have anything else to say about it other than that it's basically everything that every game should be, or not every game, but every game that's going for the model that it goes for. Um, but yeah, they've done something special, and I'm personally uh flabbergasted by it. Just because I've never seen anything quite like it before. Um, I mentioned Ermac earlier. I've been playing him um in the invasions mode a lot. Um, he's a lot of fun. Uh, Ermac has always been one of my favorite characters. I've never mained him all that much, but I've always really just as a character. Of course, he's a ninja, so that gives him brownie points for me. I'm a sucker for a palette swap, especially as that palette swap is a kick-ass ninja. Um, but uh, the just his lore is really cool, and I thought that he had a really cool showing in the story mode, and that coolness continues in his gameplay. He's a really fun to play. He can do some really sick stuff. Um, his fatalities are cool, especially the Soul Eater eating one. He looks like he goes um, full mummy, which I appreciate. Um, I know a lot. There are a lot of uh, old head MK fans who aren't keen on the whole mummy thing, but personally, I am a fan. Um, I liked I liked where it started in MK9, and they just built on it in X. And of course, he wasn't in 11, but I'm sure it would have been there if he was. Um, but yeah, I really like him. He's a lot of fun to play. Um, I'm learning some pretty fun combos with him. I've also been trying out Janet Cage because I didn't get around to playing her when she came out because I was hell diving. Um, but uh, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying playing him. And honestly, as much fun as Helldivers is, I've been playing that thing to death, so it needed a break. Um, but yeah, Ermac's fun. I'm really enjoying him. They really did well with him. Thus far, um, I've seen people like rating the DLCs for this game so far. Um, for me, it would be Peacemaker at number one, and then probably Ermac if I'm being honest, and then Omni Man, and then Quan Chi. Um, not that Quan Chi isn't cool. He's got some really cool stuff. Um, he's fun. I'm not great with him, but his playstyle is one that I've never been fantastic at, and I've also just never been a fan of the character. But um, he uh, he's a pain in the ass to fight online. I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the final two, Takeda and Homelander. Um, funny enough, with this game, I've actually gotten pretty much everybody I asked for as far as characters go. Um, top of my list was Smoke. He's been at the top of my list since MKX, and we finally got him. No, I don't count Triborg as much as I like Triborg. Um, we um, and then I wanted Reiko. I wanted Ashra. I did want uh Hida, which I got. And of the guest characters, I was the one person on the planet who was asking for Peacemaker because he's the one that everybody was was talking shit about in the lead up, like the reveal trailer, everything. He was the one I was seeing all the shit talk about, and then he comes out and he's a top tier character. He's the one who everybody's praising. I just find that hilarious, and I feel very vindicated. um, but yeah, Ermac's fun. I appreciate Ermac. Ermac was also on that list. Um, Jade was too, so I didn't win them all, but win some, lose some, and all that. Okay, so uh, I guess the last thing I'll talk on, um, I have been talking about how I started watching X Men Evolution, uh, just because I never watched all of it. Um, I finished it. It was great. It was really good, actually. Um, I've seen some discussions online recently. People reflecting on animated series of the past with '97 being out, and Evolution kind of lower rung of people's ratings, which for me, I mean, it's under '97 and the original, but I like it better than Wolverine and the X-Men, which I also just watched. Like I watched Evolution, finished it, and then watched Wolverine. Um, I liked Evolution better, personally. Now, there's some things about Wolverine I like better. Like Steve Blum as Logan is always gonna be a plus. The animation, I think, in most cases was a lot crisper in Wolverine. Although I think a lot of that had to do with just when it came out and the budget that it had. Um, Although I will say that Evolution in some places, in some episodes, depending on like, I think Evolution's highs were higher, um, in terms of animation. If that makes any sense. Like Wolverine was consistently good. Evolution, when it was good, was better. If that makes sense. I also just think that uh, I think that what Evolution contributed to the overall mythos of X Men, um, just in terms of the value that it has piece of um, as a piece of media, is overall more appealing to me. Um, I think that the characters are better fleshed out. Like, really, the only one who got a lot of brownie points in Wolverine was Wolverine, and other characters had some good stuff too, like Angel and Cyclops, um, and Nightcrawler. But they were really the only ones, and I suppose Charles too. But the only one who consistently got really good episodes, and really the only one other than Nightcrawler, funny enough, who got solo episodes that I can think of, was Wolverine. I will say though, uh, in terms of individual characters, I think a lot of the time Wolverine got it better. Gambit for one, I really like X Men and Wolverine and the X Men's version of Gambit. Um, we also got Hulk fighting Wolverine, which is always a plus, and that's also the one that's connected to Hulk versus Wolverine. So the Yost verse and all that. So that one, that gives it brownie points as well. But overall, I think I like Evolution better. There's more of it, um, but the overarching story, I think, is just there's more to it. I guess. Um, there's more meat on that bone, which admittedly it could just be a result of it having 3 more seasons than Wolverine did. But you know, what are you gonna do? Um, but with that, um, I'll I'm gonna leave that there. Uh, I know I've said it several times, but I am working on some other content for the channel, just separate videos, individual from this podcast. I have talked to a couple of people about doing like a separate show focused on a specific topic. We'll see how that pans out. Um, it will probably not be on this show. It'll be its own thing. Um, I would like to start doing that, as well as having guests on this show, or maybe I'll just do like this is my show, and then I'll have like individual, or like I'll have a show where it's me and a guest, and we talk about something specific. Like, um, for instance, one of them I talked about was Mortal Kombat. Um, and maybe we'll do like seasonal things, like a I don't know, like a horror themed thing in October or something. I don't know. We'll see. I have ideas and prospects. We'll see how they pan out. Um, Relying on other people to do this kind of thing is hit or miss. Um, well, I don't want to say relying, but trying to do it with other people can be hit or miss because sometimes your plans fall through because you can't accommodate or because they can't accommodate, and it just sometimes things just don't mesh well, and I can say that from experience, which is why this is a solo podcast. This is the only way I was able to actually get it done. Um, be it my fault or their fault or whatever. I don't really blame anybody. I'm just saying, you know, the person I'm talking about listens to this podcast, so I'm doing damage control now. Anyway, I'm rambling. Appreciate you guys. You know, like, subscribe, comment, all that fancy schmancy stuff that people tell you to do on YouTube. I would appreciate it, and I will see you guys next week. Adios.